My name is Ryan Callard, Ryan John Callard. I was born in Las Vegas, Nevada, to Lynn Harris and Jeff Callard. Grew up in Texas with 7 brothers, Kenny, Sean, Colin, me, then Timothy, Matthew, Braden, Cameron. Still have my 2 sisters as well, Cheyenne and Autumn. They lived in Vegas while I was living in Texas. I grew up in a big family, so I'm very family oriented. My family came from not necessarily broken, but divorces here and there. My dad remarried 3 times, my mom remarried 3 times, so even my grandparents remarried a couple times, so there's a lot of remarrying going on in the history of my family, which, you know, everybody's happy. My grandpa remarried, and him and my nanny were together for, so long. And then, you know, my mom ultimately found my dad, Kenny, and they've been married 28 years, so they ultimately found happiness, but I knew that in my heart, once I found that girl, I wanted to try to make it work. I wanted to try to make that the one all the way through. Did a lot of sports in Quinlan, so, you know, I did varsity in wrestling, varsity in football, varsity in track, you know, did baseball for a little bit. However, my junior year, I cut off baseball and varsity in tennis. Big time Steelers fan. If I was to cut myself right now, you'd see me bleed black and yellow. I love the Dallas Mavericks, you know, and the Texas Rangers. I love music. I love to dance. I'm a big time dancer. You know, in middle school, I was a big time break dancer. That's what I did. I can do everything from the windmill to I think it was called the helicopter. I actually got ridden up one time in class for doing the worm. I was always a real clumsy guy too. You know, they used to call me Captain Clums. All my brothers, my mom and my dad, they always called me Captain Clumsy because I'd bust my chin open all the time. You know, I broke my arm. My dad used to say I'd meet his deductible every year. He'd make sure I was Mr. Deductible. I graduated, thank God, and moved to Houston. So my buddy Craig actually, he told me about U of H, go Cougs. He got me there. I rushed to fraternity, Kappa Sigma, AKDB brothers. That was kind of my first big involvement at U of H. You know, kind of where I met a lot of my other friends. You know, 2 of my groomsmen that are there too, Jeffrey Hunt and Dexter Williams. They're a couple guys I met in the fraternity, and, you know, my lifelong brothers. I get in these organizations to become a leader, to kind of mentor others. You know, that was one of my big pushes at U of H. I was in school, I think I was about my sophomore, maybe junior year. You know, we were just kind of hanging out, wasn't talking to anybody, and lo and behold, a little later on, Gina showed up.
My name is Gina Raimondo, and I grew up in Sugar Land, Texas. I have 2 older sisters and an older brother. Their names are Nikki, Diana, and Andrew. One of my sisters, Nikki, just had her first baby, and my other sister, Diana, has 2 girls and a little boy. My mom is Denise, and she's a substitute teacher. She has a long history of doing choir and teaching piano lessons, so she enjoys doing that. She also enjoys being a grandma. Her name is Nani. My dad, he goes by Papa. He loves fishing and hanging out at the house. I've grown up in the same house my whole life. I've never experienced moving besides going to college. So that house that we're in now, which I'm still in, that's my memory house. Let's see, when I was a young girl, I never really knew kind of what I wanted to be when I got older until both my parents are teachers. And then my older sister, Diana, she became a teacher. And I think that's when I really wanted to look into what that consisted of. So when I went to college at U of H, I went to University of Houston. I studied educational psychology. And so I got to work with a lot of kids there and do some internships and practicums with little kids, and I decided maybe I should be a teacher. We grew up in a Catholic church. We're very, very family oriented. We're always together. We always have big family dinners on Sundays. My brother comes over, my older sisters come over. I originally started going to school at University of Texas at San Antonio. I went there for a year, and then I didn't really like it. I liked San Antonio itself, but for college, I just decided to move back home. It was the best decision at the time. Reconnected with some friends that I had at home and still followed through with friendships that I met during college. So I started making more friends at the university. I met some girlfriends out there that were in a sorority. I started getting involved with Young Life College and met some good friends through that. One night, I went to like a little apartment party type thing with some friends, and I was in the kitchen just minding my own business. You know, it was a small thing. I mean, there was only a few people there, and I was actually there with other friends. This guy comes up to me and started talking to me.
I instantly noticed her. I thought, she was different because everybody there was kind of, wearing tight clothes. She was in a long maxi dress, kind of classy, and I just figured she was standing there by herself, and I just kind of introduced myself.
He was cute, like when I was a little girl, I always imagined dating a tall, dark, and handsome man. And I always thought, I'm gonna be with this tall, like a lot of the guys I dated were you know, a little tall and dark and handsome. And then this guy comes up to me and, you know, he's a little shorter, he's blonde, blue eyes. I was like, well, he's not really my type, but so we started talking.
Was trying to talk to her a little bit, you know, work the game a little bit, maybe get her number a little later on.
We're standing there in the kitchen and I was like, oh, well, you know, he's carrying conversation. It was just me and him. You know, I wasn't even with my other friends at the time. He told me about his family and what he was doing. He introduced me to his other friends, and a couple hours later, I guess, flew by and he walked me to my car, and I was unsure of him, and I said, you know, he asked me for my number.
Sure enough, she gave me her number. You know, I walked into her car, I remember that, and funny story, I actually remember trying to give her a kiss that night. I was trying to sneak one in there.
And then he went in for like the awkward like kiss hug, and I was like, oh, like, I'm not gonna go for that, so.
And she turned me down. She did. She squashed that real quick. And I thought it was funny though, and luckily she gave me her number, and you know, I texted her the next morning. You know, I was very interested in her. You know, she's a very pretty girl, very cute, you know, good head on shoulders to look like, you know, classy. So I shot her a text the next morning.
And he said, hi, sunshine. And I was like, oh, that's cute. That's so nice of him. So I texted him back, and we started texting, and it turns out that he was working in summer orientation team for the school for University of Houston. And one of my best friends knew me and knew him. Like, he was working with her name's Jessica.
Jessica Avilia, which little did I know, that was one of Gina's really close friends. So I'm kind of just talking to Jessica about it, you know, and saying, oh, I met this gorgeous girl last night. Her name is Gina. She's Italian. She's like, wait a minute. What's her name? I said, Gina Raimondo. Bam. So she's like, oh my gosh, no, you didn't just meet Gina Raimondo. And sure enough, she texted her, told her who I was. And that's kind of how we came together in a sense.
I was kind of weary about dating him, and I wanted to be single, and I didn't like the idea of wanting to have a boyfriend at the time.
In school, kind of studying, wasn't really looking for a girlfriend, you know. I didn't even have that in my mind, really. I just, you know, I was in the fraternity, I was vice president, I was in other organizations, I was getting on my last couple of years of school, so I had really graduation on the mind. You know, never looked and said, oh, this could be my girlfriend.
After texting for a while and talking on the phone and getting to know each other through that, we decided to go on our first date.
I was never good at the dating thing. Remember, I wasn't big on, I didn't have a girlfriend before then.
Like, I called him before I left because I was living at Richmond in my parents' house, and he was living in the fraternity house, which is at U of H, so it was kind of far. So we were just gonna meet there. I said, okay, well, I'm leaving, like, I'll meet you there, you know, we'll have like 30 minutes, whatever. And he was like, oh, we have a problem. And I was like, oh, what? And it was on the phone, so I couldn't like react, you know. I was like, oh gosh. And he was like, well, I don't have a car.
I never had a car.
And I was like, oh, like, is it in the shop? Like, do I need to take you to go get it? And this was the very first time we were hanging out.
You know, and so I kind of had to ask her on the date. And then once I got her to say yes, which was, you know, good to go, I had to convince her to drive.
Oh, okay. Like, I grew up in Sugar Land where like 16-year-olds have cars, you know, so I was not used to that. And he's, you know, kind of explained, like, in short version, like, I went to college without a car, so I just don't have one. I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll go pick you up at the frat house. Oh my gosh.
And that's how I didn't know how she was going to take that. Thank God she took it all right.
I went to the fraternity house, I picked him up graciously and with a smile, and I said, okay, let's go. So we went to go see X-Men together. I don't really like action movies. Like, I'm more of like a romantic comedy type of person.
I don't know why I picked this movie, but I picked X-Men First Class. Don't ask me why. It was a movie I liked. I guess I really wasn't considering her.
So while the movie goes on, we were kind of like holding hands, or, you know, and just kind of sitting by each other. And then all of a sudden he does like the awkward, like, oh, and I was like, oh, okay.
And I kind of do the whole put my arm over her kind of thing. Like, okay, got that. Step one.
I was just like sitting there, like on the left of him, and he was like on the right to me, like right here. And I was like, oh gosh, okay. And I didn't say anything. Like, thank God we were in a movie, so I had the excuse to be quiet.
Sure enough, I'm waiting for the right moment, and then I just lay a smooch on her right there.
Yeah, he kissed me. Like, he planted a big kiss on me, and that was our first kiss. And I love that it is, like I said, it's a cheesy, like, movie, like, first kiss, but you know what? It was the cutest thing. He was so nervous.
So I took her to Macaroni Grill, which is across from my job, kind of easy. I knew that place.
So we had good conversation. It was a great first date. It was the cheesy like dinner and a movie type of thing, but we got to sit together and get to know each other, and that's really all that matters.
I'm telling you, man, those first 3 months were so I guess you could say like euphoric. I mean, I just fell for her in a sense. Like I just wanted to be around her. I just kind of wanted to be all with her. I wanted to hang out with her.
Obsessed with each other. Like people thought we had been married like for 30 years. Like we were like always holding hands, and we went everywhere together, and like I didn't want to go anywhere without him, and it was just like I was head over heels for him those first few weeks. I was really trying to keep our Christian faith in it, because before we made it official, we did talk about like our faith, and because that was really important. I did not want to date someone that was not Christian.
I knew I always wanted to find a girl that was, that put God first. So that was always a big thing in what I looked for in a girl, that she was she was a Christian, she went to church, and she loved Christ for who he was and who he is. That's big to me, and that's one thing that made Gina stand out to me a lot. When we first kind of were dating, I wasn't necessarily the leader in the relationship spiritually. She was very leader-like. She went to church, she was involved with Young Life. She wanted me to go to church, and she kind of got my wheels turning back to how I used to be. My dad, he was a pastor, in his younger years, and he, always raised us, Wednesday night, listening to Jack Van Ampe, reading the Bible. So I grew up with that kind of atmosphere, and I was, Mr. Preacher Boy when I was in grade school. I even played Jesus in a play one time, so that was pretty cool. But when I got to college, I kind of got a little distance. I started thinking more about me and going to school and the fraternity life and stuff like that. But when I met Gina, that was one big thing that really made her stand out to me, was her love for Christ. And I told myself, that's the kind of girl I need to be around. I don't need to be around a girl that's so focused in school she's gonna be successful. Yeah, that's great. Or I don't need to be around this girl that can hold herself at a party and do really good, or can party hardy and all that stuff. I wanted a girl that knows how to have a good time, but also takes school important, and above all else puts Christ first. And Gina was definitely that person for me.
I started getting to know his friends a lot and starting to hang out with his fraternity brothers. I kind of hung out with them more than I hung out with my girlfriends, which it was fun for me. I mean, I loved it. I was kind of out of that like want to be in college stage. I was wanting to settle down, and I think he knew that, but I don't think he was ready to settle down. He kind of still wanted to be with his friends and be in the fraternity, and like I never wanted to go to the fraternity parties. I never really wanted to go out, and he always did. So that kind of put a dent in our relationship, and a heavy dent.
We'd hit 6-8 months, somewhere around then. It was getting kind of long, and I was still in the fraternity, so there were some things she didn't typically like about me, but I was stubborn, hard-headed a little bit.
Loved him, but I did not love some of the things that he was doing, just like some of the things he was doing with his friends. And I mean, nothing bad. I was just wanting to be like a wife already, which was crazy after being with him for a couple months. And he just, I think, got scared of that. So after being together for, I think it was a few months, we kind of took some time apart just to kind of reevaluate what we wanted, because I think I was more in it than he was, which was kind of opposite from the beginning of the story, which is actually funny.
Kind of did some soul searching for myself, kind of realized what I wanted to do. Is this the girl for me? Is this the one I want to be with? And the more I thought about it, the more I prayed on it, the more I talked about it, I really started to see everything that I wanted, and it was all in her. After
taking that break, I really prayed about it, and I had a mentor. She worked at U of H, and she really talked me through it. And she's like, if you really want to be with him, you really need to pray about it and see, like, do you want to be with him, or does like God want y'all together? And is this something that y'all need to like have together? So we ended up talking.
So I took her out on a date. We kind of had a serious talk in her car after that date, and I laid it on her.
We were talking, and he like started crying, and he said, yeah, he started getting like really serious, and he started like tearing up, and he said,
"You're the one I love, you're the one I want to be with." I was even tearing up a little bit. She kind of still gets on me, or still cracks jokes at me because I cry. I tear up sometimes. Got a little bit of a sensitive side, so you'll see at the wedding, don't worry.
And so, yeah, he like said it, and I like didn't say anything. I didn't react, but I still remember that to this day, and I will never forget that because I had never said anything about love before that.
She teared up a little bit. I think she had been waiting for a long time. I think she had already known she loved me. I think she had known in her heart that she loved me, and she wanted me to say it.
Still to this day, I could say I think I loved him like right away, but I never really said it because of the whole like being too crazy at the beginning.
I think she was just waiting for me, and me, stubborn, indecisive, kind of just waiting, second guessing myself, which, it really just took prayer and thought and time to really, say, hey, this is the girl. Why, what am I thinking here? Why am I postponing it? She always cracks jokes that it took me so long to say I love you, but, to me it's a strong word, and it's a strong thing. I'd never, loved another girl, never said I loved you to another girl, so that was a big deal to me, and I wanted it to be perfect. I wanted to be the one. I didn't want any mistakes. I wanted it to, her and I to say I love you and live the rest of our lives together.
And we kind of made the decision, I needed to slow down a little bit with wanting to be crazy obsessed with him. He needed to let go of the things that was being more single. Like, he needed to be more in the relationship.
We got back into that euphoric mode of, just her and I googly gaga over each other, and it was good.
That's when he actually started really hanging out with my family, was after that whole breakup. Because my family, my sisters are very protective of me, and they were kind of resentful towards him because I told them we broke up, and they were very unsure of him. So a couple years go by, we started talking about getting more serious, and he saw both of my sisters getting married and have babies. We started talking about getting married, and it was kind of scary because the whole commitment thing, even when we started dating, was scary. So being married is a whole nother situation. So we started talking about it around our 2-year mark. And when I knew that I wanted to marry him was last Valentine's Day, was a year ago. He took me on this crazy, now Ryan is not the man of surprises, so, which I'm fine with, but he doesn't do the Bachelor style surprises, and whatever, I mean, this is realistic. So he took me on this amazing Valentine's night. We went to the park, and he had all these candles and blankets and pillows, and he bought a book for me. It was some book about marriage, and we had already kind of talked about it, but we sat there and we drank some wine and we had candles, and it was dark outside, so it was great. That's when I really thought, I was like, this guy, I want to marry him. I remember distinctly, it was that Valentine's Day. I really wanted to get married, when we first started dating. And he knew that. And all these girls on Facebook were getting married, all my friends were getting married. And I was like, what is the deal? What is taking so long? I was posting pictures on my Pinterest of what rings I wanted.
Basically, she had been waiting, and he'd been wanting. I could tell in her mind she had been wanting it.
He knew. He knew.
In my mind, I already had a plan. I had been talking to my nanny about using my great-grandmother's ring, and so she had that in California.
And he had gone to California to visit his grandmother. And he'd always told me the ring he wants to give me was his grandmother's ring. So I was like, oh, that's great. I would love that.
Well, the perfect timing came up to where my sister was graduating high school, autumn, and I was going to fly out for her graduation. And of course I wasn't going to tell Gina I was getting the ring, so I let Gina know, hey, my sister's graduating, I'm going to fly out to California and drive with my nanny from California to Vegas to see my sister graduate. So in her mind, she's thinking I'm just going to a graduation, but what me and my nanny had talked about was me coming down there to get that diamond and to pick out the ring. So that's when the plan had started.
And he had told me when he came back, he didn't get the ring. And he was like, oh, I didn't get the ring. I mean, I looked at rings, but, I didn't get it. And on the outside, I was like, okay, you only go to California once a year. So I thought we were not going to get engaged till the next summer, because he only goes once a summer.
I had taken that ring with me on the plane, which was very nerve-wracking because you got this fat, ring, and it's just carrying it on me. I actually had an under my shirt, pouch. It was a hidden thing. It was kind of cool. I don't know. I remember I had told her that I'm going to be using my great-grandma's ring one day when I proposed to her. She knew about me using my great-grandma's diamond. And I remember her asking, so, hey, did you bring the diamond back from California? I said, no, I'm going to get that later on. I didn't want to bring it back with me if I wasn't ready to propose. So in her head, she's thinking, oh, he didn't bring the ring, so he's not going to propose for another year and a half.
And inside, I was so mad. I was like, oh, that's another year I have to wait. I just want to marry him. I wanted to get married to him.
So I'm getting her kind of just waiting on it. She doesn't know that I already have it hidden, it's already there. And that's kind of where the plan started kicking in. I already had an idea how I wanted to do it. So what I did was, her favorite flower is sunflower, and I've always known that. That's her thing. She loves those. So I incorporated that into the proposal. And what I did was, the day before, a couple days before, I started writing letters. So I wrote 5 letters to give her throughout the day with the sunflowers. Each one gets a little bit more intimate and emotional as they go.
It was June 25th, which was our 3-year dating anniversary.
The reason I did it on our 3-year, one, because I think it was a good timing, and two, the plan I had, I wanted her to think it was a 3-year, anniversary thing. Oh, he's just doing this for a 3-year anniversary. So I dropped the first letter off at her house. I drove up there at 2 a.m. in the morning from my house, just so I could leave it on her front porch with about 3 sunflowers.
There was a sunflower and a note on my front doorstep. So I was like, oh my gosh, it's so great. Like, he's full of surprises.
The first one was very just, hey babe, good morning. I love you.
And it was just a note. It was just a general note about how much he loves me and everything.
The second letter I gave her, I drove up to her school while she was teaching. I think she was teaching pre-K at this time.
So then I go to work midday around lunch. I was working at a preschool. And a little girl from the preschool comes running in with a sunflower and a note that says, like, note 2. I was like, oh my gosh, is he here? So I ran to the front office and I asked our secretary, like, is Ryan here? She was like, no, it was so cute. He ran in and dropped the stuff off and ran out. He didn't want you to see him.
So she calls me, hey, where you at? Are you here? What's going on? I said, oh, don't worry. This is just part of my plan. She's like, okay. So she's all, I could tell she's getting butterflies. She's getting excited.
I was like, oh my gosh. So like waterworks at work, crying.
Then the third letter I gave, I drove up to her family's home while she was still in class teaching and stuff. So I drove up. This is where I asked old Papa Chuck for permission. I had that on my mind. Hey, I'm going to ask him permission for this day. It was funny asking permission because I remember Papa Chuck was going fishing that day. And I remember telling him, hey, I got to ask you something a little later on. Will you be home? And he was like, oh, no, I'm going to go fishing. Can you wait till tomorrow? No, I kind of got to ask you, today it's important. He's like, oh, well, what is it about? And I didn't want to do it over the phone. So I'm like, well, it's really important if you can just, be home a little later on. I think then, the third time, he kind of got it. Oh, okay. So then he, sure enough, skipped his fishing trip. Thank you, Papa Chuck. And so once I came to the house with the third letter and some more sunflowers, I had asked Papa Chuck and I asked Denise for permission to take Gina's hand in marriage. And thank God they gave me the permission. And I gave them the third letter and gave them the sunflowers. Said when she gets home, make sure she gets these.
And then I call him and I was like, where are you? He's like, don't worry about it. And I was like, okay, he's not going to tell me. So I thought this was all, I was so blindsided. I thought this was all for our anniversary. Like, oh, this is so great. So anyway, so then he gave me another note and it said, come to my house. So then I get ready, I go to his house and I figure we're just like going to go to dinner or whatever. It was for our 3-year anniversary. Then I go to his room and his whole room has sunflowers all over it. Now, sunflowers is my favorite flower. So he has sunflowers all over his room and he has candles and he has another note.
It's a letter that she picks up and she thinks she's going to meet me there and we're going to go out to eat.
And it says something about like getting, like, I'm going to pick you up or something like that. Like, I'm going to come pick you up or go stand outside or something.
But she gets the letter and it tells her, hey, this is going to keep going. I promise you it's almost over. Now meet me at Herman Park. So at this point, she's probably like, what is going on here? Why is this on a scavenger hunt or something?
So he pops out from his corner. Now, I didn't think he was home because I didn't see his car. He pops out from the corner and he was like, hey. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you were here. He had parked around the corner. He didn't want me to see him. Okay, so we get in his car, we drive to Herman Park in Houston near the zoo.
The funny part of this is right before she starts coming to Herman Park, it starts to rain.
And it was kind of rainy. And I was like, well, are we going to do something outside? Like, it's kind of raining. I did my hair today, Now,
I did not plan for the rain to come in the picture. So I have everything planned at Herman Park. I have my last letter in my hand. I have the diamond. Everything's going well. Starts to rain and immediately I think fast, okay, I gotta go get an umbrella. So I drive to the store, get up the nicest umbrella I can because I know it's gonna be in the picture. So I can't just get like some, regular old umbrella. So I get this nice umbrella, make it back to Herman Park in time, and she shows up, meets me there. Of course, she's all excited. Oh, what do you got going on? What's next? This and that.
And he was like, no, yeah, there's no other plan. Like, this is the only plan I have. And I was like, okay.
So I have wine on me. I have a gift for our 3-year anniversary, and I just tell her, hey, let's just go on a walk, And sure enough, she's like, it's raining. Can we go somewhere else? And I'm like, no, we got to do this, and we got to keep going.
Like, I grabbed my purse, and we had bought like little gifts for each other for our 3 years. So we brought our little gift bags, and we had a bottle of wine. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be cute, like a little picnic in the park. It was kind of drizzling, so we had a big umbrella. We stopped at we went to the Japanese garden. So there was hardly any people there because it was drizzly outside, and it was a Wednesday, so there was hardly anyone there. We're walking around and we stopped at one of the benches and we're like, oh, let's open our gifts. And he was just acting really weird. Like, he was like clammy and like, I was still blindsided because, mind you, I still thought the ring was in California at this point. So I was like, there's no way he's proposing to me.
I asked her to stop into the Japanese garden at Herman Park, and it's beautiful there, real beautiful. I wanted a really pretty, background. I wanted it to be gorgeous, somewhere we could probably go back and visit later on as well. So we're in there, and we're walking around. I got the umbrella, we got our gifts. We're just talking, it's our 3-year anniversary, and that's what I wanted her to think it was. And sure enough, we stop, and this is what I thought was really cool. I stop, I get her in a nice spot, and I get the gifts out. I said, all right, I want to give you my gifts. And, I got it kind of in a box that's kind of like a ring.
Like, what is this? I opened it was like a necklace.
Nope, just a necklace, just earrings.
I was like, oh, I love it. Like, oh my gosh, a necklace, great, and earrings.
So it's kind of cool to see her, expression go up, and then, oh man, because in my mind I'm thinking, maybe she thinks this is it.
Just like, I mean, it was very cute, but I still wear it to this day. So then he was like, so I thought we were done. We're like, okay, well, let's go home, whatever. And he was like, no, like we still need to drink our wine. Let's go walk around more.
This is funny because this is where I kind of got nervous, and I guess I kind of started faltering out of the plan because I started forgetting what to say. So I'm like, all right, hey, well, let's just kind of keep walking, and we get to the spot I ultimately want to propose to her at.
And I'm holding the umbrella, and he was like, okay, well, let's take out the wine. He was like, but you have to put the umbrella down. And I was like, why? I was like, it's drizzling.
It was funny because I asked her to hold the wine while I got myself situated. Then I took the wine from her. I said, well, just set the wine here.
He's like, just put it down. I was like, okay. So that's when I started getting suspicious, was really when he told me to put the umbrella down. So I put the umbrella down. He gave me a glass of wine, and he gave me another note. I
give it to her. I tell her I love her, and this is, something that I feel strongly about.
And it was all about like how much he loves me, how much he knows he wants to spend the rest of his life with me. And it was just a front page. It wasn't too long, but it was all those like deep things that led me to believe he was about to propose. I mean, it was all about like being in love with me. And so at the very bottom, it said something like, I know I want to spend the rest of my life with you.
She starts to tear up, starts to cry, and as soon as I see her kind of folded up, and I dropped on one knee.
And I was like, oh my gosh, it's happening. And so right when I was done reading the note, I look up and he's on one knee. And he just said my full name, and he said, will you marry me? And
I kind of blacked out at that point. It was kind of nervous, but it worked out, and she loved it.
Everyone was asking me, like, did you know? And I had no idea.
Her her expressions, you can tell it was beautiful, and she loved it, and she didn't see it coming, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's how it happened.
Gina, she's drop dead gorgeous. She's beautiful, very smart, very organized as well. That was pretty cool because I'm very unorganized, so I need a little organization in my life. Obviously just a caring person, loves children, caring for children, gorgeous, cheerful, gorgeous smile as well. If you see her smile, she always has a little dimple pop up on her left cheek, and I thought that's always something that stood out to me. Everything from A to Z, man, that I could ask for. She has a good sense of style too. I will say, I didn't have a lot of style in clothing, and she fixed me up real sharp, nice. Got me a nice little flannel, got some good clothes, no more of the old U of H t-shirts that I kept wearing day after day. She's gonna be an amazing wife, I know that. She's gonna be an amazing mother too. Gina's the type of woman that is probably gonna bury her children in Under Armour and cool outfits, She definitely decked me out in some cool outfits when she started dating me, so I can see her being that mom as well. She's an organized little thing too, so she's gonna have those little kids on a tight schedule, I can tell her that. She's gonna have them eating at 7, going to bed at 6. Me, I'm a loose cannon. I'm gonna be all over the place. They're gonna be staying up, watching movies with me late. She's gonna come in, why aren't y'all asleep? She's gonna be caring, she's going to be a teacher, a natural teacher, that she always has been. So she's gonna always be teaching them, the kids, and like I said, loving, she's got a little spark to her. When we go on trips like we plan to, she's gonna be the one that organizes them all, make sure we're hitting up every little thing. We go to Disney World, we're gonna be at this place, that place, this place. This is gonna be planned out to a T. As for me, I'm just gonna be shooting from the hip, kinda. So I think it's gonna be good. I think she's gonna be a wonderful wife. She's gonna take care of me. She's gonna serve me like, the Bible says. She's gonna be the kind of wife that serves the Lord. She's gonna be the kind of wife that serves us. She's gonna be dedicated to the family and do whatever it takes for us to be, successful. She's loving, she's caring, she's great, and it's gonna be amazing. I can't wait.
Ryan is so energetic, and he's very enthusiastic about what he does. He loves people. He's very extroverted and he can talk to anybody. When he was in college, they called him Taz because he has a lot of energy. So when we are together, we have to find things to do or he's going to go nuts. He's very loving and very caring. I see that a lot with his family. He will do anything for his family, which I love. I love that about him. If I ever say like one negative thing about like anything about his friends or his family or anything about his work, like he just gets so offended. And he just cares so much about his people in his life. He takes care of his brother and he makes sure his mom's happy, and he has 4 younger brothers, so he does a really good job about making sure they're all good. They're in school and like they want to get involved in sports, like he'll help out a little bit with getting them involved. He makes sure to go visit his mom, and if he can't visit her, he'll call her. And he's really good about caring for people in his life. One of the things that I love most about him is that he's spontaneous and he can just fly by the seat of his pants. I'm not. I'm very type A. I have to have everything planned and everything organized, and I have to know 5 weeks in advance what I'm going to be doing that Saturday. Like, why? I don't know. And he can go drive to Galveston for a day and not have a single plan and just figure it out. And I have to have everything planned. What time are we leaving? What snacks are we bringing? Once we got engaged, I really figured out how to appreciate that about him. That, like, I should take that in more. It's good for him to have me so I can help him plan things, and it's good for me to have him because he helps me kind of just relax a little bit. Another thing I love about him is that he's very passionate about what he does. I used to always get annoyed with him when he wouldn't like plan things or do things, but once he does something, he'll do it like 100%. Like with work, they love him at work because he does his job and he does more than what he needs to do. Both of my sisters have kids now, and so we kind of have started talking about what kind of parents we want to be. I see him with my nieces. He's great with them, and him having 4 younger brothers, he kind of grew up around little kids. I think he's gonna be the kind of dad that you look at a kid and their father and you're like, wow, like that's such a special relationship, because I have full confidence that he's gonna be such a great dad if we are blessed by kids. He talks about it and he tells me things that he does not want in his life, and he talks about things that he does want, and he knows like he wants to raise his kids in a Christian environment, and like he wants to get his kids involved, and like he doesn't care about all the materialistic things. Like we used to do a Bible study together with 4th and 5th grade boys, and he got so annoyed because all these kids were very materialistic. I mean, they had all on the Nike stuff and the phones and everything. He's like, why? You know, like I don't want to raise my kid to like make sure they're like popular, you know, like he just wants to make sure his kid knows Jesus and his kid's happy, you know. And we do talk about how he resolves conflict and how he avoids it and how he treats me and how he pursues me. I know he's not going to stop doing that just because we're married. I mean, I'm more of like the negative person in the relationship, because I was like, well, when we get married, it's going to be so hard, and then you have kids and all those financials and all these things. And he's like, when you get married, that's the beginning of the great story. And then when you have kids, it gets even better. When you buy a house, it gets even better. Like you can't think about like the financial burdens of it and the negativity of it. He said that's the best part, is it's exciting. And so that kind of changed my perspective of it.
I always knew I wanted a big family, to be honest with you. Not necessarily 7 boys. So it's not, my mom's a different trooper. She can handle that.
So we both want a lot of kids. When I say a lot, maybe like 4, I don't know.
I think I want 4. That's my plan. All boys, hopefully, if I can pull that off. But, you know, we'll take what we can get.
Whatever the good Lord blesses us with.
Live in an area where, you know, I know we'll have a nice home, but still land. I'm still a country boy at heart, you know, and I still want my 2.5, 3 acres, you know, whenever I do have my place.
It's funny because we are talking about kids' names, and we are not pregnant, and we do not, you know, we're not planning on having kids right away. That's the plan. We are not living together. We decided to wait until we get married.
She's always lived at home. I've always lived at, you know, my house, or, you know, I've never lived with another girl. You know, I've never done that before. It
will be very new for both of us. It's going to be a learning experience, but we're both really excited about it. To have our own place, and we get to put all of our stuff in it and just kind of cook together. And we've talked about meals we want to eat and things we want to do together already.
But I'm so looking for the wedding. I'm ready for it to be here.
Our wedding is May 2nd, 2015. Ceremony is going to be at St. John's Methodist Church in Richmond.
We're having the reception at the Swinging Door, nice little country theme, because that's what we like, we got our boots on, that's what we do.
We're going to take a delayed honeymoon and do it in the summer, and we're thinking we might go to Jamaica. But we're most excited just about starting life together, just being married and cooking together.
Just things that we can start building our life around, and really start building our memories so that when we have children, we can look back and show them kind of the wild side of us. So
being able to go to family gatherings as like the Callards.
We plan on taking so many trips to California to see my grandparents out there, go to New York to see her family out there, just take little trips to Galveston, little trips to Louisiana.
We've talked about being a team and being a couple versus like individuals.
And she's just an amazing girl.
We're just really excited to just start our journey together.
I'm ready to watch her come down the aisle. I'm ready to put that ring on her finger and say, I will. Hey Sunshine, how you doing? I just want to tell you how much I love you, and how excited I really am to start this adventure with you, the rest of our lives together, it's gonna be just an exciting, up and down kind of life we have, but I just want you to know that I love you. I love you to the moon and back, and I couldn't be more happier where I am right now and where we both are really in our lives, I can, when I first met you, it was just, I didn't really think too much of it, you're a gorgeous girl, pretty girl, looked like you had the right head on your shoulders, and, we started dating, and I just, caught on to each other. We were head over heels for it. I'm not gonna lie to you, honestly, when we first, those first 3 months, I felt like I loved you then, and we just kept growing. We kept learning from our mistakes. We kept seeing, what we were putting first. We kept growing from each other, and I think that's one thing that made us so close is that we fed off of each other, and really got to know each other. And I couldn't be more grateful to have you in my life. You're such a beautiful and such a smart and amazing woman, and I can't wait to start a family with you. I can't wait to marry you on May 2nd. I can't wait to get this family going, have 4 boys, 2 girls, 2 boys, whatever it is. I just can't wait to have that family together and, us raising our children and then putting them in sports and, just taking trips places. It's going to be our life, our adventure, and, I can't wait for that, Gina, and I just want you to know that I love you so much, and if there's anything you ever need, I'm here for you. I plan to be here for you for, ever, till death do us part, as the Bible says, and, I look forward to choosing our churches, choosing our houses, choosing babies' names, even though we're already picking babies' names and we haven't even gotten married yet. Yeah, we got more babies' names than we do ideas for a house right now. I don't even know. But I just want you to know that you're a very special woman, and you deserve everything I have to give and more, and I can't wait to begin this life. It's already started, and it's so close, and it's about to get a little bit more interesting, when we tie the knot and you become Gina Callard, and then we start having little ones, and we start making life decisions, joining churches, picking houses. I think you're all I ever wanted, and I love you so much, and I love you, Gina. I can't wait to marry you. Maybe I can get a little. Oh, should I just tell him? What else is there, Gina? What else can I say to my baby? To my baby. All those times, all those bad habits I have, biting my nails. I don't know. Gina, man, we're about to get married. That's a big deal. I can't wait. I think it's gonna be very special, you know, and I love you so much, and I just can't wait for that day to come, and I can't wait till the day, you know, we grow old together, and you grow gray hair, and I grow gray hair, and, you know, sure enough, you know, we're growing old together, and we retire maybe in Maui, who knows, I don't know, but whatever it is, I can't wait for it, Gina, and I can't wait to be with you side by side for the rest of my life. I love you so much.
Hi, babe. It's me. Can't believe we're getting married. I'm already crying. I'm so excited to get married to you. I can't believe when we first started dating that we would be getting married. That was not something that crossed my path when we first became a couple. I remember the first time you told me I love you, and our first date, which was the cheese ball, like, kiss, and that was just crazy to think that 3 years ago we started dating and now we're getting married. How cool. I love that you are so passionate about people, that you are so passionate about me, and you're so passionate about our future together. And sometimes I doubt you, and I should not, because you are such a great man. You're such a godly man, and you love what you do, and you love me. You're passionate about your family, and sorry I'm such a mess. We're going to look back at this in 50 years and be like, why was she being so crazy crying? But I just want to say thank you for loving me unconditionally, and showing me what it means to be such a great man. I could not imagine life without you, and I cannot wait to marry you. And I can't wait to look back on this video 50 years from now and say, what were we wearing? And just laugh about our cheesy stories and our cheesy first date, and look back at our wedding, and with our kids and all the above. So I can't wait. I can't imagine life without you. And thank you for being such an awesome man, and being so humble and generous and patient. You are so patient with me. When I think of things negatively, and when I think of things in such a bad way, you bring it out. You bring the positivity, and you bring the love out of everything that you do, and with me. So I thank you for that. And like I said, I could not imagine life without you, and I can't imagine doing life without you. And I'm so excited to start our life together, and be a team together, and raise kids together, get a dog and maybe a pig together like you want. And I can't wait to see where God brings us, because who knows? Only God knows. And I'm so excited to just sit back and enjoy the ride with you and start an adventure. I love you so much, and I'm sorry I probably look so ugly right now because I'm crying, but I could not do this without crying. But I love you so much, and on May 2nd, 2015, we're going to be married, and that's the first day for the rest of our lives, and I'm so excited. I love you.